بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. All right, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. The praises for Allah, and we recognize Allah's supremacy and oneness, and we also thank Allah for the life example, character example, and prophethood of Muhammad, peace and praise be upon him, and all the prophets. And it is a beautiful thing for us to be here, to be allowed admittance into this first into this day of Ramadan for us. Some began fasting a day earlier, but it really is of no, it's not something for us to haggle about or worry about. We know that matters are judged by intention, and we thank Allah for allowing us to be here in this blessed month. So it's my pleasure to be with you. And inshallah, we'll have hopefully a two-way conversation. I have a brief slideshow prepared that I want to share to talk about the intended topic for today's Taleem is Ramadan. It is time intention. Okay, I got my own title messed up. Let me read my title. All right, the title is perception, intention, and achievement. Perception, intention, and achievement. So I'm gonna first off, I'm gonna share my screen. All right. Like I said, this is Ramadan 1443, and many of us don't go around thinking about necessarily. We know when Ramadan is, we know when Shaban is. We're aware of the movement of the months, them going by, but as it relates to just how we conduct our daily business within society, we know that we don't use the Hijri calendar, the Islamic calendar, right? We use the Gregorian calendar, right? There are about nine, no, I'm sorry, not nine. There are at least, I think maybe 4 or 5 calendars predominantly that are in use in the world. There's the Gregorian calendar, which is, what we're using, the BCAD. There's the Chinese calendar, the Hijri calendar, and there's a Persian calendar. And so it might be around 5 different calendars. But this is relevant to us at this particular time because as we are conscious of what month it is right now, it being Ramadan, but not just Ramadan, but what year within the construct of our keeping of time, right? And it's the 1443rd year. And we're probably aware because we hear when we refer to Prophet Muhammad, peace and prayer be upon him, we talk about him, we say who came 1400 years ago, right? A little bit over 1400 years ago. And we talk about the Quran within the same, with the same type of language, the same type of awareness. But what we probably don't do or probably don't think about on a regular basis is using that as a fixed point in time. To let that be the reference point for us. So many of us know, if we don't know how we came to the Hijri calendar that we have, this was something that came through under the rule of the Caliph Umar ibn al-Khattab, radiallahu anhu, may Allah be pleased with him. And this came about because there was within correspondence, within the administration, if you will, that, you put the date on a on a letter. And, you know, there were these disparate ways of measuring time. Some were telling time according to the year of the elephant, right? The year when Abrar came to destroy, he was marching towards Mecca to destroy the Kaaba, right? And we hear about this in Surah Tawfil, right? That the birds, you know, they pelted, you know, this huge army of elephants that were coming and, you know, decimated them, right? So that's the year of the elephant. And then there were some who they were using, you know, other particular points in time. So this person, they reached out. They spoke to Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, and said, look, we need a standard time. We need some coordination and agreement regardless of this, so that we can be on the same page. So Umar, he went and he consulted some of the other Sahaba, among them Ali, radiallahu anhu, and they came to he came to the conclusion that the time would begin with the Hijrah, right? Begin with the migration from Mecca to Medina, and that would be year one within our calendar. So that's to be mindful, to be aware of the Hijri calendar, is to always be thinking in reflection, thinking in remembrance of this time of migration, this time of fleeing from persecution and instability and oppression to relief, to welcome, to possibility, to the establishment of community life, to the Ummah coming into being, the Ummah that we reference today, the Ummah that we speak about, that we reference in the Quran. You know, you are the best of people, the best of communities raised up for humanity. This is a product of the Hijrah, right? So time, once again, the first thing we're looking at is perception. And perception, a big part of perception is going to be around not just what we see, but it's also going to be in how we relate to time. So that's the first thing we're looking at is Ramadan. It is the 1443rd year after the Hijrah. So we got these two calendars just to kind of put side by side this, to look at it and see, when we look at the Gregorian calendar, which we use here, that there's, looks like a regular calendar. You got your January through December. But then when you go over and you look at the Hijri calendar, right? And it's also important to understand that these are months that were in existence. These predate the revelation of the Quran. These predate the prophethood of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But what's important for us to see is that those months that are in the yellow or gold, that these represent sacred months, right? These are holy months, right? That have spiritual value. They're touch points.
Yeah.
So that Muharram.
Good afternoon. I was just trying to see when we could get that money so I can.
I'm gonna ask. You got that? Okay, good. Yeah, let's be mindful of the mute button. But we have 4 sacred months within our calendar, and this is also particularly important for us because as we think about our perception of time, how we engage it within this culture, within our society, it's not one where we think much about the sacred, or we invited to think about the passage of time as being sacred or having sacred relevance or resonance. Yes, we have national holidays, and even those that might even be tied to a religious identity have become secularized. They've been really stripped of their spiritual value, right? Their ability to add to the moral fiber, to provide a moral awakening, which is the complete opposite of the calendar that we have, right? We are constantly being reminded of the sacred, constantly being reminded of our connection and responsibility to our Creator, right? So as we see Ramadan being the 9th month, let me move this here. That we're at right now. Let me move over one. All right. Time of perception. Happy birthday. Now, how does this relate to where we are right now? Number one, we think about Ramadan. We know how we're grounded. We know what this means to us as a date and time. We know that the Quran was revealed during the month of Ramadan, right? And we know that it has been given to us as a to give us guidance, to give us clarity, and to bring us into a comportment with what Allah would have us, what Allah would have us to be, right? But this happy birthday, we think about society today. Our main touch point, the way that we perceive time, it is around. We've been pushed to see time as an individual, and not collectively. We think about my birthday when I got here, right? And you're constantly aware of wherever you are within the year, you're aware of your proximity to your entry into this world, right? And even if you don't talk about it, it's something that it doesn't leave you. And for those who do talk about it, and it's not a knock on birthdays at all, we celebrate them. My family, we observe them. Many of us do. But we got some where we don't just have a birthday, we have a birthday week. And then it's not even a birthday week. Some have a whole birthday month. They observe their birthday the entire month. And it's not intended to be a knock, but it's intended to kind of give a contrast, to think about the awareness and energy that we give to these sacred months, in particular the month of Ramadan, right? And how we engage that, how we are aware of that, and how do we look at that as something that we celebrate? And I would say yes, for the most part. I shouldn't say for the most part, yes, we've been looking forward to Ramadan. We talk about it. We are aware. Those people counting down 3 months ago. 90 days to Ramadan. But it should be, in terms of our perception of time, once again, the touch point, or our touchstone, if you will. It's not about us. It's about what was given to us, what was done for us. And the greatest gift that we've received has been the revelation of the Quran. It has been in the excellence and the character model of Muhammad, peace and praise be upon him. All right. So that's how, and that's how we should be thinking. Or I invite us to, or remind us, or affirm that, because I'm sure this is an awareness that we share, right? And going back to the calendar, to the Hijri calendar, we celebrate Allah's permission, Allah's direction to move the messenger, his messenger, Prophet Muhammad, peace and praise be upon him, and the community, allowing them to migrate, allowing them to establish, to move from one condition that was oppressive and demeaning and restrictive to one where that has produced, over a billion adherents to this faith. And it was because of, not because of, but this is something that is worthy of celebration, worthy of commemoration. But the way we engage time, it impacts our awareness of that. So I guess I've told myself just to be more mindful as well, right? So we got these glasses here. Can somebody give me what comes to mind when you see this particular image?
Clarity.
Close up.
Corrective vision.
Yeah. So we notice how the images outside of the glasses is blurry, right? And the clarity is inside, right? It's in the lenses. So so to everybody's, to those three observations, yeah, absolutely right, right on. Perception, there's a saying that perception is reality, right? But that's really not accurate. What we probably should glean from it is not that perception is reality, but that perception influences our it influences reality. It influences the way we engage reality. But reality is the same whether or not we see things clearly or not. I've met plenty of new old friends on days I didn't have my glasses on. That is just being out there and thinking I know somebody, and I didn't know him, right? But the clarity, I bring this up because the clarity that our book gives us, I guess I can pause there for a second and go right to this. Everybody knows what this is right here. This is a picture of the new moon. Does it look like that?
Yeah, it looks like a wax
Yeah.
crystal.
Yeah, it's not the
Yeah.
best picture in the world, but yeah, but this is the new moon. And in terms of perception, it's odd that each year we come to this point where we're looking for the moon, right? Allah tells us those of to go out when you sight the moon to begin the fast. Is that we use assisted telescopes, binoculars. We use all types of aids to allow us to be able to see that to begin the fast. But there's something that is even a greater, greater metaphor, a greater interpretation for us in looking for the moon, the exercise of looking for the moon, and recognizing that we're not looking necessarily for the moon's light, but we're looking for the light, right? The moon doesn't have its own light. It's reflecting the light of the sun, right? So we're looking for collectively, we're looking for the for that guidance, right? For that light. And this is the determiner of time. We're telling time according to our ability to see the light, right? The day begins with, it begins in the evening. It begins with when everyone else thinks that there's, that it's time to rest. It's time to, shut it down. At this point, we are even more aware, even more, we're vigilant in our, our looking, reaching out, looking into the sky, to see that light that Allah has given us. And Allah tells us in Quran, He says that the moon is there. The moon serves to mark fixed points of time in the affairs of men, right? And it's the beginning for us of the month of Ramadan, right? So let me get to, okay. So time, perception, achievement. And then we're going to kind of go back and go through as a group some of the things that we look to achieve during this particular month. But Allah tells us in Surah Al-Azab, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ittaqullaha qulu qawlan sadidan. O you who believe, fear Allah and always say a word directed to the right. That He may make your conduct whole and sound and forgive you your sins. He that obeys Allah and His messenger has already attained the highest achievement. Now, it says, Yuslihu lakum a'malakum wa yaghfir lakum dhunubakum man yuti illaha wa rasulahu faqad faza fawzan azima. The Yuslihu, this beginning, you can see my cursor, that goes back to the word aslaha that we talked about in Juma, this idea of reconciling and mending, but saying here that it is not us that is actually responsible for the mending, but that it is Allah. It occurs because of Allah's will. It is Allah's mercy that allows for the mending. It allows for the refinement that produces the sound conduct, right? So we start off at the very beginning of this month. These first 10 days, we're petitioning, we're asking for Allah's mercy, and then we move into the next 10 of asking for Allah's. Those are the 10 days of forgiveness, and the final 10, we are seeking protection from the hellfire. You know, we generally will retreat. We could say that the achievement exists in two forms. One is in the freedom from the hellfire, right? That is the ultimate achievement. And the second, an admission into the into paradise, right? Even if you didn't get into paradise, but you escaped the hellfire, you would say that that's an achievement. But the achievement in this life, is going to be marked by those who are able to maintain sound conduct, those who are able to exemplify their belief and their fear of Allah through this first thing this command that is given to us. Say a word directed to the right, that He make your conduct whole and sound, and forgive your sins. I'm gonna let me see what else I got here. I'm gonna come out of here now. Okay. So what I want to get into, I'd like to open up a discussion around number one, around our perception, the perception and the goals that we have set for ourselves in this month. How we are intentionally going about using this prescription of Ramadan as a way to, number one, to check our tongues. I know often at the very beginning of the first time of experiencing the fast, the big thing for people is to be able to make it through the fast, just to be able to not eat and not drink. That is the achievement. Just the mastery over putting things in the mouth, right? Mastery over that and saying, okay, well, I did it from sun up to sundown. That is an achievement, and that is true. But the higher achievement is not just what goes in the mouth, but what comes out of the mouth. And this is easier said than done. So when Allah tells us to speak a word to the right, that we are first beginning with speaking a word to ourselves, speaking a word of the right to ourselves. And it's not just about, it's not necessarily taking the, I don't want to say just the easy way out, to mean that I'm just going to withdraw from people. And that way I don't have to worry about saying anything out of pocket. I don't have to worry about cussing anybody out, saying something slick or whatever. But it is to say that this is also a month where we have heightened interaction with one another, where we are together. We're praying more together. We're breaking the fast together whenever possible. So the opportunities for us to actually go left when we should go right actually increase, right? But we're at a point where we are, where hopefully we are much more aware, as I said, of not just what's coming out the mouth, but what not just what's going in the mouth, but what is coming out of our mouths. And so that's one of the things about being intentional in this particular month, about being mindful, of the tongue, about how we use our tongues. And we're encouraged in this month to read, to recite, to dhikr, to keep the tongue with the Lord's praise, and in doing so, we remove the likelihood and the possibility. We lessen those possibilities that we would, that we would succumb to that lower self. Is Ramadan in and of itself, does that mean that any bad habit or any proclivity for, for gossip or, just kind of letting the mouth run, does it mean that automatically that just goes away? Does it just go away because now we're in this blessed month of Ramadan? Does that fix everything? Does anybody feel whole right now at this particular moment? Have all your problems gone away? Have all your character issues, things that you want to improve about yourself? Are you the best version of yourself right now? Are you a better version of yourself? Are you who you want to be? Because now we've sighted the moon. Now we're in the month of Ramadan. Or do you feel like you've been given a tool that allows you to move closer towards that? And has anybody engaged? Do we have a practice of engaging in self-assessment and what we want to get out of the what we want to mend, what we want to reconcile within ourselves in this month? Or is, how do you all go about that? Anyone brave enough to share?
Well, this is Jamel.
Yes.
I am better than I was before, but I still have a long ways to go. And I personally know that. I'm not going to share things and whatnot and a lot of my achievements, but I know I am better than I was before, but I have a long ways to go. And when I sat down and I thought about that as the month of Ramadan was coming up, I thought to myself, well, I have to discipline myself to do that. Whatever I choose to achieve, I have to discipline myself to do that. But yes, I am better off, but I'm not whole. I don't think I'll reach whole until maybe I'm on my deathbed or something like that, man. But I'm not whole, man, by a long shot. So.
Well, Brother Jamel, first of all, I appreciate you not testifying. We're not opening up necessarily to tell people, you gotta, give a testimony of specifics. But we're all works in progress. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think this is one of the, I'll open it up for, does somebody else have something?
I was just thinking how Allah says that he's creating Adam, he's making Adam from clay. So I see myself as being molded. And I think Ramadan is one of those factors that mold us. But it has to be voluntary. So that's why as Muslims, we're witnessing, but we're submitting to what we witness to. And in all of this that Allah has prescribed through an example of Prophet Muhammad, our model, and praise and peace upon him, is that he's the model for how we reach, how we approach. Of course, the judgment is with God alone. And we really don't know all of our strengths and weaknesses. So Allah gives us these methods of approach to that higher, pure self, better self.
Thank you, man.
I think, like you said in the beginning, you asked the question, are we better? Are we whole? Do we have a tool? From my perspective, I think that Ramadan is a tool for me. For instance, last night was the Final Four, and I'm a big basketball fan. I really wanted to watch basketball games, but I just threw that out of my mind. I didn't care, right? I said, I don't care who wins these games tonight. Tonight is the first night that we're going to go into Tawweeh of prayer. We're praying together, we're breaking fast. And that tool gave me a deeper insight. And it reminded me of what my grandmother used to say when I was young, when she would ask me to do something. And I said, okay, Grandma, I'm gonna do it as soon as I can do watching the game. She said, you've seen that 1,000 times. I said, no, this is on, this is live, this is a new game. No, you've seen that 1,000 times. So it put it in perspective, right? This is a tool now, Ramadan is a tool now that I can use to better myself, to continue my journey towards making myself whole, getting, to that point where I can say, feel that, yes, I've made it. I've achieved this goal, right? And I can return to Allah pleased, and he can be well pleased with me.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Definitely appreciate that. I
I would like to say that.
oh, go right ahead.
Okay, this is Michael here.
Hey, assalamualaikum.
Hey, walaikum assalam. First time caller. No bell ringing or nothing. Ramadan makes me want to just step my game up. I would say it just, in everything, in salat and just thoughts of always in remembrance of Allah and the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it's just a fun time. So, but the goal is always when Ramadan is over to keep that same level of remembrance. That's the key for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is definitely, that's a big part of the challenge, I think. But even in the opportunity, because the mending, the refinement of character that Ramadan presents us with, the opportunity before it is not an individual matter. That piece of that ayat, kulu qawlan wa sadidan. That's plural, speaking to the people. It says speak a word to the right, telling to speak a word to the right collectively. So a big part of that, I think, of that shaping and the healing is in that interaction. It's an interacting with one another and using our speaking. It's encouraging one another. It's promoting this. It's pushing each other on for us to be the best versions of ourselves, inshallah. Dr. Aisha, you got your hand up, I see.
Hey, assalamu alaikum, believers, Ramadan Mubarak. So as I think about Ramadan and how it's changed over the years, right? Growing up as a shorty and knowing Ramadan was coming, it's like, oh my God, oh no, I don't feel like not eating. Oh my goodness, I got to go to school. Like, it was a different kind of engagement for me, which is very funny as I look at our young people. And now it's, oh my gosh, I need this, right? Allah always knows what we need, and we're at various points of our lives, we don't have that realization, right? But so Ramadan is just a reminder that Allah knows what we need, right? And this is just it's a feeding of the soul. It's a getting back to what is important. It is, as everyone kind of stated before me, it is that just the recentering.
Thank you.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, this has been a powerful month for us individually, but I think as a community, Ramadan has brought some tremendous blessings with it. Just over the past 2 Ramadans, I think about what this month has done and meant for us, as a community. It has been transformative, right? But I think one of the goals that I put in front of myself is to be more mindful about the proximity, about not losing that, losing the steam, losing the benefits, right? Because we get to a point where we just really get, you just get in the groove. And, you see Ramadan coming to an end, and we're going to be at day 25. It's going to feel like it just popped up on us, and we will not want to leave it, right? But we got to leave it. You got to keep moving forward, but keeping those gains throughout the year. And I'll say this before I open back up for anybody else who has a comment. I think we are a stronger and I think a more focused community. I'm looking at progression. When you're able to maintain things, maintain benefits of Ramadan, things that you begin in Ramadan and carry them outside of that, that goes in the win column. You know, the Quran discussion. And I guess it's a good time to announce, right? Well, it should be expected that, you know, we'll be doing that daily. Same time, 6 to 7, inshallah. But for that to begin in Ramadan and to carry over, because the spirit was high enough to say that there's value in this, that's a mark of that type of advancement that lends to us being able to speak a word to the right, that lends to us being conscious of our proximity to Ramadan, our proximity to Allah in character, in word. So yeah, so I feel that too, Brother Michael. I feel that too, that desire to maintain the light, you know, not to let that go out. I got a hand up. Brother Bill.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum,
Walaikum
everybody,
assalam.
and Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan.
Yeah, I think usually Ramadan for me is a way to get away from all those distractions, you know, in the world that distract us, will distract me away from, you know, the deen, away from my spiritual self. And you'd think that being retired, you would have less of those, but it seems like it's actually the opposite. And I think also being older, and, you know, maybe some of you can relate to this, that, you know, I always start thinking about, and I know, Mom, you've said sometimes, you know, that this should be, just act like this is your last Juma. You know, I start thinking about, well, you know, I need to act like this is my last Ramadan. And as you were saying, I think as a community, we've had a difficult month. You know, there's many. I was thinking of Dr. Deborah Majid, Rod's father. Just had the memorial yesterday. You start seeing these people passing, and again, that's something not to ignore. And I guess it's I heard from my brother. I have an older brother. He's like 9 years older than I am, and he had a stroke last night. And my sister-in-law called me like this morning, and so that again, and certainly making dua for him. But that's just that reminder how important this Ramadan is, and also just important for me, and then for all of us to kind of get into that state of mind where, yeah, you know, maybe this is the last Ramadan. Or like Brother Jamal was saying, you know, you keep working towards bettering yourself, but you never quite get there. But, you know, this could be your last time to kind of look at those imperfections and that those feelings of wanting to be closer to the community. So I think this particular Ramadan, it's going to focus on that for me. And I think wiping out those, you know, all of those distractions in the dunya that just come up constantly, that this really helps, you know, it's like the whole thing about keeping your eyes on the prize, you know, it's just like, you got to have this like complete focus and perception, inshallah, on that improvement. So that's what I'm thinking about.
Thank you, Brother Bill. And we are definitely praying that Allah give your brother Shifa, comforts you and your family, you know, gives them a full and lasting recovery, inshallah. So
I mean,
Jazakallah.
Well, yeah, cool. But yeah, like you said, this is and I started off with the question: do you feel because the day has changed that do you feel like the person you want to be? Right. But every question doesn't just give an answer; it also leads to another question. Right. So, and the question is, what does this time give us in order that allows us to become the best? Right. That allows us to become the better version of ourselves. And there's no time like this in the rest of the year. This is the time, right? Everything that we do, every act of worship, every recitation, every act of charity, every kind word, everything that we do, seeking Allah's pleasure, magnifying Allah in this month, it is magnified, right? Exponentially, it is magnified. And we're not doing this, we're not doing it by ourselves. We're doing this together. So this is the great reset. You know, this is the point that, you know, it's not just about the calendar turning, like the regular new year and saying, okay, I got these resolutions that I'm going to work out. I'm going to eat better. I'm do all these things. Allah gave us this wonderful prescription. I'm gonna, if you're listening to me, I'm gonna control what goes into your mouth, and you're gonna be mindful of what comes out of your mouth, and you're gonna be mindful of how you associate. You're gonna be intentional about giving, you know, and you're gonna do these things for 30 days. And anybody who's, you know, you studied habit formation, a lot of folks, you know, they'll say it's 28 days. You do something 28 days in a row, you got a habit on your hands. And the fact that we're doing this collectively, this is just I mean, you can't put a value, you can't put a price on the value that Allah has given us in giving us community to enter into this month and experience this month, to become better individually and to encourage one another, right? To use our words to encourage one another. So yeah, that's why, yeah, this is absolutely an exciting time. Brother Bashir.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum. Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Mubarak.
Alaikum assalam.
Yeah. You know, what Aisha mentioned too when she was a younger person, how she viewed Ramadan, and I think it's with all of us. It's a process of maturing. And looking at Ramadan and respecting its significance. And just like you were mentioning, Imam Tariq, Ramadan too, the Imam Wardi Muhammad pointed out to us that the greatest asset of Al-Islam is knowledge. And just the knowledge of Ramadan and all its aspects. Allah says that Ramadan, this fasting is for him alone. So yeah, we do that as individuals, but as we fast as individuals and benefit from it, we also see ourselves in the broader society. And there's also the communal aspect of it also. We're as we did last night in the Tawheed prayer, we're doing it as a group, as a community. When we're fasting, we're thinking about also in a higher aspect, those who don't have food like we may have food. So there's a sensitivity that's being built up in that Ramadan also. And we have to control all of our appetites, our anger. And if we look into the world today, all around the world, the things that's happening in the Ukraine and happening in the Middle East and other areas, and we have to respect each other. So all of those lessons are being brought to our consciousness during that period of time. And not only should we come out as a better person, but we should come out as a better person, wanting to contribute more in society. And by reading the Quran, the whole of it, if we're able to achieve it, then we should have a better knowledge of how to make our world a better world on the other end. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you for that, Brother Bashir. Dr. Gloria and then Sister Crystal.
Assalamu alaikum, believers, and Ramadan Mubarak. I was just kind of reflecting on everyone's comments, and such wonderful comments. And it makes me think that for myself, that boy, I have so much growing to do. And when Imam Rabbani talked about the clay and how we get the opportunity during Ramadan to be remodeled, remolded, right? And I just think that, as we all continue to strive, that as the year goes on, that clay begins to harden and chip, and flaws are discovered, right? And so Ramadan gives us that opportunity to remoisten that clay and to rebuild ourselves better. And so I'm grateful for that. I really, was looking forward to the start of this Ramadan. And so it is now here. But it just makes me just reflect more about how much more growth, how much more development that, I need. And as Brother Jamil said, he's not perfect. He's still growing, but he knows where he's made, some, big changes in his life. And so it is my hope that we all can begin to see where we're making big changes in our lives and remodeling our clay. So I'm inspired by everyone's comments.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Dr. Gloria. Sister Crystal, you have the floor. Are you muted? Okay. All right, we'll come back. Shaheed, Brother Shaheed. I see your hand up.
Brother Shaheed needs to unmute himself.
Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, there you go. Like my son.
Yeah. This is Sister Aisha.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yes.
I didn't know which Shaheed we were looking at.
Yes. He. Alhamdulillah. I just wanted to share. Ramadan has always been just a wonderful time for me. Growing up, it's always been, and I think it has morphed as I've gotten older. If at one point it was, being concerned about, eating and fasting and that kind of thing. And I think sometimes as you get older, that gets a little easier, and, you continue to grow and start thinking about what you should and should not be doing. And one component was the fellowship, was the community. That was like a really big thing for me. I really enjoyed the fellowship of Ramadan with other believers. But kind of COVID kind of changed those kind of things. And I feel like this Ramadan, I don't know, I really feel like it's more, I'm looking forward to the engagement with the Quran. Like this was the month that it came down. It is a guidance for us. And I think sometimes we sometimes we know it's our guidance and we know it's some good stuff in there. And we try to read it every year, and sometimes throughout the year, of course. But I guess this Ramadan, I'm really feeling, I'm really looking forward to having an even deeper connection with the Quran, right? And how I spend my time this Ramadan. You know, like we're concerned about not consuming anything during the daylight hours, but I'm really, really paying more attention about what I am consuming during this month. And I'm really saying, okay, I'm going to try to consume more of the Quran, learn more about you know, more tafsir or more. I just feel like I need to engage more with the guidance. You know, like, man, Allah has given us a whole month, you know, to focus in on the guidance that He's given us to make it through life and to be successful. You know, why not take this time to really get into it? You know, and He makes it easier for us during this. So this Ramadan, I'm just really excited about spending more time engaging with the Quran itself and being more mindful of how I spend my time.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Sister Aisha. Brother Quiet.
Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak, brothers and sisters. Well, first of all, I just like to say how much I appreciate listening to the comments. I made sure I did not raise my hand. I really wanted to hear, because I was growing so much from listening to everyone's comments. And I think one of the things that Ramadan does for me is that it really takes me to a high level of gratitude. I'm more conscious of all the things I have to be grateful for. And just sitting here listening to the comments from everyone today so far, one of the things I'm really grateful for is just our journey and how far we have come as a community. Just think about what we probably would have been saying in 1975 or 1976. We were having this discussion about Ramadan, you know, and not to demean that, because it still would have been a glorious thing, almost a miracle, that we were having the discussion in the thing in the angle from which we would have been talking about it. But it's really just reminds me of the blessing. The other thing, I guess, I think we're in a unique position as a community, and please don't hesitate to push back on me, because I don't want to think I'm right all the time when I'm crazy. Okay, so you need to push back. You know? So, but we are in a special role as a Muslim community to the world. And we don't get the luxury of stepping out of that like some communities do during Ramadan. You know, I have some friends who are actually from our community. They used to go to Saudi Arabia every Ramadan, so they basically could eat at night and sleep all day. You know, so because other communities, it's more insular for them, because they don't really think about Christian relatives and other non-Muslims around them, and we don't ever get away from that. And one of the blessings I get each year is that more and more people who are non-Muslim, they're checking in on me, almost asking me, do I know it's Ramadan? Of course I'm fasting, you know. And it's really a beautiful thing, because it's a blessing to have been a part of impacting our community, the community that we came out of, the community that birthed of the African-American community, and the broader community, you know, that we live in here in America, African-American, non-African-Americans, Caucasians, etc. Just the realization of that is a real blessing for me. You know, it just, when I think about it, you know, I talked with my niece last night, and her mother, my sister, was one of the first tragedies, and she died early in the COVID thing. So we try to stay pretty close, and they just have this happiness about us, my brother and I being Muslim. They're not Muslim, but they're happy about us being Muslim. Are you on Ramadan? You know, what are you going to do at the end of Ramadan, et cetera, et cetera. So I just wanted to share that. That's a beautiful thing to me and a blessing to me.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So what we're going to do, because we're at 2, we're going to stop the recording. we'll officially close out, stop the recording, but we'll keep the room open. So those who want to continue the discussion, because it is such a rich discussion, are free to do so. But those who were expecting to be out at 2, don't want to hold you either. So with that, let us recite Salatul Asr. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wal Asr. Inna al-insana la fi kusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr. Ameen. All right, and break.